Hello and welcome to another installment of Tinker Time with KG7UJF. Consider this. The following video contains shop language. If this offends you, it is best to leave now. Son of a bitch. Alrighty. We have a new addition here, and a kitty caterpillar across the street like we would not believe. Shaky cam, he is not happy. He's coming right for us. He's coming right for us. Anyway, we have got a new victim here. This is one of those projects for making the whiling away the long wintry nights. 2007 Suzuki C90T. I also called him the Volusia 1500. This one has got a, let's see, what does it have? She has got an upgraded computer. EFI, what for that fancy Cobra loud bang bang exhaust. She's got 16-inch long handlebars, what for getting the ride position a little bit closer to where we want it. But we have issue. This thing is sat in the shop all of the wily time. This entire summer it sat in the shop, and as you can imagine, because the key go pluggy plug, you know, verky. Some dumbass who will remain nameless hooked up the replacement battery for this thing, which was wrong, the wrong way. So we now have a project. This was the first new vehicle that I ever owned, and she's getting a little bit rough. She's taking up shop space, so let's start figuring out what in the hell's going on with it and see what we want to do. So, where do we even begin? Well, we're just kind of backtracking what we know we need to worry about. This is a little bit different electronicals than some of the stuff that I have played with in the past and a lot of the stuff that I have recorded, but we still know that we are going to be dealing with some electrical shit at one point or another on this. And the reason for knowing this is because we know that this some bitch worked and worked recently, and in fact we even had it working for all of a millisecond before the battery reverse polarity fried, whatever the fuck it fried. So, what does that mean? All this thing, this thing is computerized, so that means we've got troubles. This is amusing. This is something that I actually went and test drove this motorcycle. Thing was fucking amazing. I really had a lot of fun with it. But yeah, that was back in 2013. That was a really nice bike. I was actually thinking of getting rid of the thing and going on a new path. But let's see if there is a way that I can make this work. Okie dokie. So we know that part of our problem arose when the battery for this bike ended up getting plugged up sideways. Let's try and get this where I can see it a little bit better so you can see it a little bit better and I'm not fighting with it the whole time. So focusy, 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 focusy. She just might not allow us quite the level of detail that we want. So this is the 2007 on VL1500 wiring block, wiring diagrams. I mean, you can, like I said, it used to be called a VL1500. That's what this is. This is calling it a VL1500. It's really a Suzuki C90T. And this is a 2007 model year. So this is where, when something blows up, we look at our good friend Google and see what the fuck has anyone ever run into this shit before. And then we see B, what we might do about it. This thing, I want to take a little look-see at, and maybe we have something in here that makes sense. So I'm just going to kind of start with where we know things are bad, or where the problem started, and we know that this is one of them. It's this sumbitch right here. I mean, this is our, where the fuck is the ting? There's the ting. So, battery down here, if we trace it, it's going into the starter relay right here. And what I'm doing, I'm just wanting to start on this endeavor by seeing what we need to, what the potential blowout could be. For example, like, you know, I want to start where the problem started. I don't really give a shit about all of this stuff over here just yet, because, you know, I want to see where things are connected in the bike and how the electricity is going to flow from this little operation, so I can see what might have been damaged in the path from it being hooked up with positive over here and negative over here, because the battery was all feckered up. So two main components right from the get is this starter relay here and this regulator rectifier. Now these two things here are pertinent, what the Google machine said are probably going to be the main things that end up blowing up. We've got a fuse in here, which would be really helpful if it just decided to pop. And we've got this regulator rectifier that's it's a regulator rectifier that's teed in here, and I don't really have a good way to describe it. It ends up being part of the electrical component alternator that charges the battery on this bike. It's part of that battery system, so if things end up getting hooked up backwards, it's possible that this could have fried. It's possible that this could have fried. We just don't really know just yet. The worst case, and what I'm really nervous about, is that this decided to go away. So this is the electronic control module. That's the computer. That's the brain box that's making this whole sumbitch run. So this negative, or this ground, off the battery dumps into the regulator, and it also has a straight line right up into the ECM. That's what this little line is showing here. So it's a potential that it could have bypassed this whole circuit over here and just gone straight to the computer, and boom, we done blew her up. I don't want to start playing that game yet, so we'll see what else we have going on. So the first two things that I want to do is start off simple and go from there. So the first thing I'm gonna do, or the first thing that we want to do, is take a look at this starter relay, take a look at the regulator rectifier, and then start working into the more serious things from here. It doesn't do us any good to just jump right to the ECM. We just start small and then we go from there. So to maybe make things a little bit easier, we're gonna starter fuse and regulator and rectifier. So we should have a way in our handy dandy little book of magic here to take a look at where that site is. No. 271 to 272 271. Okie dokie. So we have kind of seen what we've got to go here. I've kind of already gone through this book and taken a little look at it. These climber manuals are not all that bad. So this was looking at all sorts of shit in here. This is largely what I'm curious about here is this. So we have got to decide what is going on, and like I said, this book is pretty decent because it tells us pretty specifically what we need to do on things. So voltage regulator rectifier, it'll do it gives us specifications for how to test the thing, what we can expect those results to be, how we need to do everything to make that work. But the first thing we want to start with, I think, is looking at this starter fuse. So a 30 amp, blah, 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 protects the circuit. That should be right up top. Blah, 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 blah. Remove the battery top cover, disconnect, connect, blah, 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 negative terminal, switch, blah, 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 blah. Reading must not, current draw is excessive, regulated before, blah, 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 blah. I'm not exactly sure where this is, so that's what we are looking at. Where is the starter? Let's go back here. Starting is 276. Maybe we've got a schematic here, 276. Yeah, electronic control module. God, I don't want to deal with that. So let's B. Okay, so the first thing we're going to start out with here is removing our battery and just getting it out of the way, because I know the battery is good. It's just everything else that sucks. So that's, get the metallics off before we start sticking our fingers around here. Oh, this poor little thing is so very, very filthy. Okay, so we've got one. We have got two. And that is now kicked out. So this is something that we do here, as we label and date the battery so we remember when we got it and what for the deal is. So now I believe, if I remember right, that starter relay is tucked up underneath this tank cover. The other deal is under the secondary gear cover down here, which I can't really get to without tools, and I don't think that I have the appropriate tools, being as the truck is in the shop with the appropriate tools, because the brakes are going bad on it and I don't have time to fix it before we need to leave for our vacation in the next couple days. So let's just see what we can do about getting these covers off here. And it may very well be the same thing here. I don't know if I'm going to be able to plop Well, there really isn't all that much of a point in even attempting this until we get the correct tools. So, these Suzukis come apart. I've had this thing apart more times than I care to admit. They come apart relatively easily. Let me shaky cam this. So, what we need to do is 4 and 2, those all come out. These 3 screws that hold the filler cap on come out. 2 bolts right here that come out. This has to come out. And there is another, oh, my poor little gas tank flange rubber's coming apart. There should be another bolt right up in there. I can't remember if that one really needs to come out or not. Kind of right up there. And then likewise over here, we've got to plop off this little side cover. And I think that that's it. I don't think that we really need to take off any screws back this way. Yeah, that's where we end up going. Something that I want to kind of do is swing this thing around and take a look at something. Alrighty. So, something that I want to do is make a little bit of a double check here of some stupidity. And make sure I didn't fry something unintentionally here. So we're gonna do some continuity testing. So this is one side of the nag. Where the fuck does that thing go to? It goes so that's good. The negative has good continuity with the ground. So I mean, that's something that I was hoping for, and that I didn't break this wire, because that could have been a potential thing there. Things around. I mean, this was not really all that pleasant of a task. Let's see, will the puppy figure it out? Yeah. So starter's tucked away right in here behind the exhaust. Battery sits right up in front of it, right up here. Yeah, I mean, essentially what we've got to do is rip off that secondary gear housing and rip off the accoutrement to see what exactly we are dealing with and what got smoked.